Right now on Good Morning America First Look, the U.S. military's show of force in the Caribbean, the new attack targeting alleged drug traffickers in Venezuela, and now reports of survivors from the attack. This as the U.S. commander overseeing the operations in the region steps down.
President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, now responding after being indicted for mishandling classified information. Why he's comparing Trump to Joseph Stalin's secret police.
The urgent search for a missing 9-year-old not seen in over a year. The case raising questions about the oversight of homeschooled children.
It's not even Halloween, but the winter weather forecast is out. The parts of the country expected to see a colder, snowier season.
Caught on camera, the aggressive sea otter taking on a California surfer.
Prepare for more annoying phone calls, why spam calls are on the rise again.
A food fight over peanut butter and jelly, the legal battle over Uncrustables. Trader Joe's being sued, but can a company trademark a sandwich?
And later, why Taylor Swift fans are flocking to this museum in Germany.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America First Look.
Good Friday morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie Ramos.
And I'm Faith Abube. We begin this morning with a developing story, a new show of force by the U.S. military in the Caribbean.
The military conducting exercises near Venezuela in the wake of a series of attacks on boats allegedly carrying drugs. And now there's word of survivors after the most recent attack. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the details. Nicole, good morning.
Stephanie, good morning. The U.S. military has launched what appears to be a 6th airstrike on a suspected drug boat in the Caribbean. And unlike previous attacks we've seen, this time an official says there were survivors among the crew that were targeted. No word overnight how many people may have been killed. But meanwhile, tensions in the region are escalating. President Trump has authorized CIA operations in Venezuela and is considering ground strikes. The White House says the moves are aimed at fighting drug cartels while dismissing Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro as an illegitimate president. Earlier this week, flight tracking data showed 3 American B-52 bombers flying near the coast of Venezuela in what appears to be a major show of force by President Trump. And now we've learned the U.S. admiral overseeing operations in the region is stepping down. ABC's Martha Raddatz says he's just the latest commander to part ways with Secretary Pete Hegseth.
He has been on the job for less than a year. He is one of numerous senior officers who have resigned or been kicked out by Secretary Pete Hegseth since President Trump took office.
And statements from both the Admiral and Secretary Hegseth suggest the split was amicable. But the New York Times reports the Admiral raised concerns about the attacks on those alleged drug boats. And even some Republicans have questioned whether those attacks are legal. Faith.
Nicole, thank you. The other big story this morning, former National Security Advisor John Bolton is now responding after being indicted for mishandling classified information.
This morning, President Trump's former National Security Advisor John Bolton is speaking out after being charged with 18 counts of retention and transmission of national defense information.
I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy, yeah.
Bolton is accused of sharing more than 1,000 pages of information about government activities. The indictment claims he used a personal email account to share notes about his day-to-day activities with his wife and daughter, neither of whom has proper security clearance. The notes allegedly included information labeled top secret. The indictment claims the emails were later hacked by someone associated with the Iranian government and that the hacker taunted Bolton and threatened to make the FBI aware of the leak. One message calling it potentially the biggest scandal since Hillary's emails were leaked, but this time on the GOP side. Contact me before it's too late. Bolton denying the accusations. In a statement overnight, he claims he's the victim of Trump's weaponizing the Justice Department to charge those he deems to be his enemies. For 4 decades, I have devoted my life to America's foreign policy and national security. I would never compromise those goals. Bolton slamming Trump, saying the president embodies what Joseph Stalin's head of secret police once said: "You show me the man, and I'll show you the crime." Bolton was once one of Trump's top advisors, but became one of his most vocal critics after leaving the administration in 2019.
I don't think he's fit for office. I don't think he has the competence to carry out the job.
He's the third political enemy of President Trump to be charged criminally in the past 3 weeks, after former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James.
And if convicted, Bolton could face the rest of his life in prison. His wife and daughter could also be compelled to testify against him.
President Trump is hosting President Zelensky at the White House today, resuming efforts to end the war in Ukraine. Trump is planning another summit with Vladimir Putin in Budapest. Trump made the announcement after a phone call with Putin yesterday, saying he raised the idea of giving long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine.
I did actually say, would you mind if I gave a couple of thousand Tomahawks to your opposition? I did say that to him. I said it just that way. He didn't like the idea.
You may remember Trump just met with Putin in August, but was unable to convince him to hold talks with Zelensky.
A judge has ordered federal immigration officers in Chicago to wear body cameras. The ruling comes after clashes between agents and protesters. More than 1,000 arrests have been made in recent weeks during the Trump administration's immigration crackdown there.
Now to the urgent search for a missing girl in California. The 9-year-old hasn't been seen in at least a year. This morning, authorities in Santa Barbara County, California are searching for a 9-year-old they say hasn't been seen in a year. Melody Buzzard, who was homeschooled, has not checked in with school officials since October of 2024.
We don't have anybody that can confirm that they have seen this child within the past year. We don't have a photograph for 2 years. So the photograph that we pushed out to the public is a 2-year-old photograph, and that's the most recent one that we can come up with.
Authorities say they went to Melody's home and found her mother, Ashley, but Melody wasn't there, and no clear explanation was provided for her whereabouts. Recent cases involving the safety and well-being of homeschooled children have raised concerns about a possible lack of oversight by state officials. In Connecticut, Carla Garcia has been charged with killing her 12-year-old daughter, Jacqueline, whose remains were found in a storage bin last week. Authorities say Jacqueline was homeschooled and suffered prolonged physical abuse and malnourishment before she was murdered a year ago.
My stepson is in here.
And earlier this year, authorities found a 32-year-old Connecticut man who was allegedly held captive in his home for 20 years. Investigators say the victim's stepmother withdrew him from public school to homeschool him before exposing him to years of abuse.
That is an awfully long time for no one to have information about what happened to this young man and why he was out of sight.
The stepmom denies the charges. Regulations surrounding homeschooled children vary widely from state to state.
A fiery debate among the men hoping to become the next mayor of New York. Democratic frontrunner Zoran Mamdani slammed former Governor Andrew Cuomo over his COVID response and sexual harassment allegations. Cuomo, running as an independent, tried to cast Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, as extreme and inexperienced.
This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic. If you don't know what you're doing, people could die.
Mr. Mamdani, you want to respond? And if we have a health pandemic, then why would New Yorkers turn back to the governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes? That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
Yes.
Republican Curtis Sliwa also took aim at Cuomo. Polls showed that right now, Mamdani has a commanding lead.
Authorities in Alaska say it could be days before everyone is evacuated from villages destroyed by historic flooding. The military has airlifted hundreds of residents from villages in western Alaska to Anchorage. The isolation of those villages complicating relief efforts. NOAA is out with its winter forecast, predicting a warmer than average season in the orange areas of this map, a colder than average winter for states in blue, and the south is expected to be drier than usual. Wetter in parts of the Midwest and Rocky Mountains. And now let's check today's forecast.
It's a chilly morning in the northeast. Frost and freeze alerts in the interior, 20s and 30s, even one of the coldest mornings of the season for New York City. But there's warmth coming this weekend, little moderation. It's in the 70s in the Ohio Valley that heads east. Storm in the middle of the country, rain in the Dakotas, upper Midwest, and storms in the plains. We're going to watch these tonight from Wichita to Kansas City, and over the weekend they move eastward. They could have some strong winds, even some hail, and an isolated tornado from Shreveport all the way up to Memphis. That's your forecast. I'm ABC News meteorologist Lee Goldberg. Have a great weekend.
Coming up on GMA First Look, the aggressive sea otter giving one surfer quite the scare.
And also ahead, a big move to lower the price of insulin.
And later, the social media influencer finally busted after driving 187 miles per hour. Back now with the aggressive sea otter who spoiled a surfer's day at this beach in Santa Cruz, California. Isabella Orduna felt a nip on her foot, so she rolled into the water and looked back to see the animal steal her board. It stayed on for about 20 minutes. Another surfer was able to help out.
Then there's another surfer nearby, and I'm like, hey, can you help me out? Got bitten on my foot, and there's an otter on my board.
Lifeguards did get the board back. Otters have been stealing boards there apparently for the past 2 summers.
New details about the hit-and-run crash that left 2 New Jersey teenagers dead. The teen charged with their murder was allegedly stalking one of the girls. Here's ABC's Andrea Fuji.
This morning, the family of one of the victims in a deadly New Jersey hit-and-run is speaking through their attorney, claiming the suspect taunted, stalked, and swatted their family before the crash.
Devastated. It's an unimaginable set of circumstances.
17-year-olds Maria Niotis and best friend Isabella Salas were run down and killed while riding their electric bikes.
There are no words that can truly describe the pain of losing your child. It's a silence that echoes louder than anything I've ever heard.
Their 17-year-old former classmate now faces first-degree murder charges. The Niotis family says they previously told police multiple times about the suspect's behavior.
There were incidences that were reported to authorities, and we do not know sitting here today if anything was done. And that's the question, and that's what the family wants to know.
The family claims the suspect swatted the family home twice last month, prank calling police to their address. During the second call, Niotis' mother says she opened the door to find the suspect sitting in his car down the street.
We want to know what was discussed, what was investigated, what questions were asked, and then how was the decision made, or why was the decision made to allow the juvenile defendant to leave the scene.
The suspect appeared to taunt Niotis in this live stream video a week before her death, saying he had a vengeance against this girl for accusing me of sending her porn.
The police have body cameras. Try to obtain dash cameras. These cars have dash cameras. Neighborhoods have ring cameras. Frankly, everything in these days is being recorded.
The Niotis family did not file a restraining order against the suspect, who's now being held as a juvenile until his next court appearance. Faith, Stephanie.
Andrea, thank you. A new plan to fight the high cost of insulin. California's governor has announced the state will begin selling affordable state-branded insulin next year. The insulin pens are expected to cost just about $11 each. The state partnered with a nonprofit to distribute the medication to pharmacies. And President Trump has announced a plan to lower the cost of some fertility treatments, reaching a deal with a drug maker to discount a commonly prescribed IVF drug. The lower price will be available on a government website launching next year.
All right, coming up, why spam phone calls are on the rise yet again.
Also ahead, a fight over peanut butter and jelly, the legal battle over Uncrustables.
Okay, please don't try this at home. A social media influencer in Arizona has been indicted after posting videos of himself driving a motorcycle up to 187 miles per hour. In some videos, the 27-year-old was waving at police before weaving through traffic.
If you're getting more spam phone calls these days, you're not alone. Americans are now getting 2.5 billion robocalls per month. That is the highest level in 6 years. Many from scammers claiming to be from banks. Artificial intelligence is one factor behind the increase.
And we turn now to a legal battle over peanut butter and jelly.
This morning, a food fight could be about to play out in federal court.
The good stuff comes from within.
Smucker's, the makers of Uncrustables, is suing Trader Joe's, claiming the grocery chain's crustless frozen sandwich too closely resembles its own signature design.
Typically, you can't trademark the ingredients of a sandwich or the recipe, but if it has a shape or other features that are unique that are not functional, you can get trademark protection for that.
Uncrustables are a staple everywhere, from school cafeterias to NFL locker rooms, where players collectively eat an estimated 80,000 of them each season.
You ever seen anybody uncrust the Uncrustables?
It's not possible. There's no crust.
Now Smucker's claims Trader Joe's frozen PB&Js are obvious copycats, claiming it already trademarked a, quote, round pie-like shape with distinct peripheral undulated crimping.
An argument that may be made is that how else can you keep the bread or the two sides of the outer part of the meal to stick together without crimping them or somehow otherwise sealing them?
The company also taking issue with Trader Joe's packaging, claiming the blue box too closely matches the color used in the Uncrustables logo and even features a sandwich with a bite taken out just like theirs. The company says it's invested more than $1 billion in marketing and product development and spent a decade engineering bread that keeps the jelly from leaking out. Trader Joe's not yet commenting.
And Smucker's wants Trader Joe's to turn over all products to be destroyed.
Both versions look good. We'll see how it
Delicious
plays out.
looking.
All right, coming up, the governor who won big in Vegas.
Plus, why Taylor Swift fans are flocking to a museum.
Time now to check the pulse. We begin with Swifties flocking to a museum in Germany.
Yeah, they're lining up to see a century-old painting with striking similarities to Taylor Swift's hit video, The Fate of Ophelia. In her video, Swift is dressed in white in a similar setting, and she strikes the same pose as Hamlet's beloved Ophelia.
The museum now offering tours, and they are booked. Next, the veteran quarterbacks showing the young guys how it's done.
Joe Flacco of the Bengals and Aaron Rodgers of the Steelers putting on a show. It was only the second time that quarterbacks over the age of 40 have faced each other. Rodgers throwing 4 touchdown passes.
Flacco had 3 of his own, and the Bengals won 33-31. Some were calling the game the Icy Hot Bowl after Icy Hot Bowl.
We've seen
okay, I get it. Next, the rich are getting richer. Illinois billionaire governor won nearly $1.5 million gambling in Las Vegas.
J.D. Pritzker was playing blackjack in Las Vegas. Pritzker is an heir to the Hyatt hotel chain. He's donating his winnings. And next, an act of kindness we have to show you.
Yes, it's from a homecoming football game in Roswell, Georgia. Watch what happens as quarterback Trey Smith is crowned homecoming king. He takes his sash and crown and gifts it to the team's top fan, Jake Jeffries.
He's a senior with Down syndrome, and he has not missed a single game.
Checking more top stories, U.S. forces have targeted another alleged drug boat in the Caribbean Sea, the 6th airstrike so far. This time, there were survivors. President Trump says he's targeting drug cartels, but a top official in Venezuela calls the attacks extrajudicial executions.
The government shutdown will drag into next week after the Senate rejected a funding bill for the 10th time. A new poll shows Americans are placing the blame on both Democrats and Republicans equally.
3 people are dead after this fiery small plane crash near Lansing, Michigan. The cause of the crash and the plane's intended destination were not immediately clear.
And music fans are paying tribute to a founding member of the rock group Kiss. Ace Frehley was the lead guitarist. He died after a fall. He was 74 years old.
And check out today's weather. A new storm system moves into the Pacific Northwest, storms in the plains and Midwest, and a chilly start here in the Northeast.
And finally, a surprise wedding for the bride.
Yes, thanks to her students. Here's Danny New.
A surprise wedding where an entire school was in on it except for the principal.
I'm still shocked. It was so special.
Brianna Lenoy here is the principal at the Buffalo Academy of Science.
If she could invite every kid to her wedding, she totally would. So,
And a few days before her wedding ceremony this past weekend, her assistant principal, Courtney, made Brianna's real wedding wish come true.
I had talked to actually my amazing assistant principal about how I'd love to be with our students, have this massive wedding. She's like, you can't do that.
Turns out you can with a really good secret wedding planner.
We all love you so much that we're giving you a surprise wedding.
The day started with Brianna receiving the big news and then immediately putting together why she saw so many students in dresses.
Oh, I literally told 3 girls, I said, oh my God, can I wear that for my wedding?
She then changed into her wedding gown for the day and walked down the aisle. Hundreds of students cheered for their principal as she made her way toward her groom, Zach.
I will never forget the difference you have made in my life.
At the altar, the students helped give speeches.
It's only fair to give you some marriage advice. So here it is. Always celebrate the small wins.
A little marriage advice.
Do you, Miss Linaway, promise to love Zach even on Mondays before coffee? I do.
And even helped out with the vows. From there, it was finally time to exchange candy rings, hug the bride, and get their dance on with the entire school.
It was more than I ever thought that anyone would do for me.
By the way, guys, Brianna's wedding ceremony this past weekend was also held at the school, so this was almost like a dress rehearsal for her.
What a sweet story.
Yes.
Those kids will never forget that.
Have
That's your
a
GMA
great
First Look.
day.